The birthing of an archive may be a somewhat strange title. Yet when Lydia Matthews asked, it came naturally along with the admission of disorderly conduct. Its opposite and an imperative to conduct oneself properly includes disciplining oneself, living up to. In the grey morning after Hurricane Sandy, October 30th, 2012, there was an eerie emptiness of a downtown Manhattan street, a phone disconnection, the fast piling garbage. Normalcy takes little to dismantle. A selfish relief that waters did not rise as high as they could have risen. Eventually, some things came back, others did not. That night I became an executor of an estate left behind by a man whose work spanned more than 4 decades. When he died, Lebbeus Woods was no longer blogging, no longer drawing daily, not traveling except to see his students. Instead, he was poring over a manuscript and thinking about his upcoming exhibit at SF MoMA, considering that is how to introduce an installation in the space offered as Anything Can Be Done, one of the last shows in the museum before its major reconstruction. Some years earlier, I felt a strong compulsion to withdraw from the world, be quiet. I expressed this to a friend who had a ready response. Isn't your work as a psychoanalyst already fulfilling such a desire? She hit the mark, but missed the point. A consulting room is the one of murmurs. To my ear, a tone of quietude was of an archive, somewhere cold. You'd see the breathing air and miles of drawers, a full pre-digital fantasy. Little did I know. 3 months after his death, the San Francisco presentation of Lebbeus Woods Architect was on view, but without anything to demolish, as no one dared to interpret several preliminary sketches, a legacy too hard to tackle. It traveled in the subsequent year and returned to its home base through the Drawing Center in New York City. The memorial was held at the Cooper Union. It was only in October 2014 when I more or less woke up, looked around, and got the contours of a picture. Material, more than 3,000 individual items, including drawings, preliminary process-oriented studies and finished, sketchbooks, models, paintings, mixed media, manuscript, published and unpublished, research material leading to the conceptualization of projects, mock-ups of books, published and unpublished, outlines for and fully produced exhibitions, architectural renderings, a large collection of slides, CDs containing digital files, textual files that indicate exchanges with colleagues and institutions, pedagogical files that record his work as a teacher at the Cooper Union and elsewhere, diary-type reflections, an additional library of nearly 1,000 volumes. 2 computers and a 17 by 11 scanner. 3 smart and helpful women coming with high recommendations. None of him ever shook the hand that drew. A number of kind and receptive consultants, and a lot of dust, a sort induced by grief. I'm neither an architectural historian nor a curator. Not particularly orderly, I always worked extremely hard at preventing any hope for a life lived in a minimalist fashion. But 3,000 items that cannot be called simply items, if only out of reverence, yet that must become items so one is not feeling perpetually petrified. Some digitized and grouped by their maker, some photographed, many intimately known to me in all phases of their creation. Some a puzzle, as I entered the scene much after they were made, some kept in storages for decades, some embedded in shared stories, others implicitly treated as secrets. No felt need for the past to crowd a living present. The archive perhaps is a metabolic system, a way of unraveling, detecting, regathering, ingesting, delivering that promises clarity. Also, always a space for choices to be made. How much and what kind of a story to tell. Lebbeus Woods, born in Lansing, Michigan, May 31st, 1940, was an American architect and architectural theorist. Educated at Purdue University Engineering and University of Illinois Architecture, he subsequently worked for Eero Saarinen and Associates, Kevin Roach, John Dickенlew Associates, and in private practice. Since late 1970s, he devoted himself to experimental projects, teaching and writing. His contributions to the fields of architecture and architectural theory, mastery and sensuality of his drawings, discernment of the relationship between architecture and states of crisis, appreciation of experimentation and collaboration, innovative pedagogy, engaged writing, among others, have been considered in numerous scholarly editions during his lifetime and posthumously. A man, most often his own client, inspired and guided by less than usual architectural themes and concerns, from cybernetics to violence to ethics, who loved what he called dumb boxes, yet was defined by others as out of the box, not an easy subject. Even if there was never a mention of archive fever, one would be bound to suffer it. The approach of the estate has been comprehensive and detailed and is recorded on an Excel database. It renders the information including title, year, client, collaborators, definition of the project abstracted from the writing of Lebbeus Woods, whenever possible annotated, contents of each grouping, mediums and sizes, condition of the material, images as thumbnails backed up by ready to reproduce, select exhibition history, bibliography. The term project is applied in a twofold manner. For bodies of work that have been titled by Lebbeus Woods, conceived of and executed in the known time frame. For bodies of work, the elements of which display significant similarities, even if the dates of individual work may differ or are unknown. The term portfolio indicates a subset of the projects, its elements to be treated as a unit. Drawings, sketches, and all process material are now fully stored and continue to go places. Textual files have been kept in their original condition with only the most extraneous or entirely unreadable aged paper removed. A number of people with whom Woods shared significant creative moments have been interviewed on video. A slide collection is yet to be organized and digitized, especially as the model photography bears distinct mark of his own aesthetics. Researchers inquire, I have, if not better, then certainly far richer idea of who my husband was. So do the children. That much for the data. In all their coolness, never affect-free. And I want to use opportunity to thank Leandra Barnett, who helped present this in this way, the archivist of the estate.